So today we did guard retention with Lasso. I'll give the details later. But when we were rolling, I was kind of focusing on it. It wasn't very effective, but so I started, like after I missed the move, I'd be like, oh, I should have done the move here. So that feels familiar. That's the same sort of process that happened when I was just starting out. So then the next step would be realizing. So right now, I guess it's like those 4 steps. Like you don't know that you're doing it wrong, then you do know that you're doing it wrong, then you do know that you're doing it right, and then you don't know that you're doing it right. It was like you're unconsciously doing it right. So right now, before I was like, I didn't know that I was doing it wrong. Now, it's sort of like retrospectively, like, and not just like, right now looking back half an hour, but like a second later, I'm like, oh, I should have done this. So then the next step, I think, is while I'm rolling, I'll be like, oh, I should do this, and then I won't be able to hit it, and then that'll go on for a bit, and then I'll be like, I should do this, and then I'll hit it once or twice, and then hit it more frequently, and then eventually it'll be that I don't even think about it when I get into a certain circumstance. Then I'll just automatically do the move. So right now I'm in that liminal space of recognizing that, oh, there was something I should have done half a second ago. Today actually I was rolling with one guy, and he's like, oh, it's the move of the day, and I was like, oh yeah, I should have done the move we just learned today. But I didn't recognize it because it wasn't from the position that we practiced it from. It was from I don't even remember how we got into that position, but I didn't recognize it because I entered it from a different position than what we learned it. So I think that's also a big part of not being able to recognize when you should use it, is because when you learn it, you're learning from a very, very specific situation, and it takes repetitions, and you have to be looking for it to realize, oh, this is a situation where I can actually apply the technique. So that was today. Definitely feel like I'm regressing. I think this is, a lot of learning experiences is that when you're picking up something new, you regress a little bit, and I think that's because of the process that I just described. Because you are processing more, so you're not like reacting as much. You're being more deliberate. And the actions aren't instinctive. So because of that, you're moving slower than what you're normally moving. But as you learn the movement, then it becomes more instinctual. So I don't think it's actually possible to learn something new without regressing a little bit. And maybe that's why it's hard to learn something new, because when you feel yourself regressing, you're like, oh, I don't want to be in situations where I'm going to have that feeling. So you avoid the situations where you would actually learn. So that's the theory theory of the day. Let's see. Dave did his pass where, so the way we've been learning how to pass Lasso is that you smash, you want to sandwich his legs together and move in the opposite direction of the lasso. So Dave went in the direction of the lasso, and then he kind of stepped on my grip, which made me let go, and he passed that way. That was like really surprising when he did that. I was kind of shocked. Not in a bad way, but I was like, oh wow, that's like really effective. Yeah. And I went against a purple belt. I did a guard pull where, with the double lapels, like Tim taught, and then he said, oh, you should hold on to the elbow with the leg that you're pulling with. I've heard that before, but Tim specifically said to Tim said specifically to go for double pulls. I think Tim is simplifying it because he's teaching all the stand-up game from double pulls. So it definitely is a lot easier. It's like get double pulls and then do X, Y, Z. While if you want to do this move using double lapels and that move using like elbow lapel, or another move where you have to a different grip, right? If you learn 3 different moves from 3 different grips, that's a lot more complicated than learning 3 moves that are all based off of one grip. So I think that's why Tim has taught it that way. And I'm wondering, so he also never said to like guard pull directly from double pulls. It's always like get the double pulls, go for the ankle pick. If it doesn't hit, then immediately go into the guard pull. So I'm wondering, like, because you tried something and it didn't work, your opponent's like a little wary, a little off balance, and then that's when you hit them with the guard pull, and that's why it's not as necessary to have a elbow grip. So because the whole point of the elbow grip is if I'm pulling and I'm raising my left leg and I don't engage the elbow, he can use that arm to like single leg me or just get control of that leg. Or even if I pull, if he just touches that leg, then he gets 2 points for a takedown rather than me getting the guard pull. Then we're just pulling guard. So maybe that's also something to ask Tim. What else? Yeah. Notice a lot of my roles now, I'm sort of kind of actively trying to disengage and distance manage. So I think that's a good thing. It means I'm like being more aware of distance, and I'm actively being more like, obviously I'm not being more physically engaged, but I'm being more like actively engaged. Like I'm the one dictating the pace. I'm the one slowing it down and setting up how I want to interact. So I think that's a good thing. And I'm looking for, when I'm in like a bad spot or like a spot where I'm not comfortable or I don't feel like either I'm not good at that spot and that's not something I'm working on, or it's just a bad spot to be in. Like I shouldn't pull myself out of a spot where I'm like in a bad spot, but it's also a position I'm working. I shouldn't just like get out of that, like bail on it, because I should work my way through it. So if I'm in Lasso, right now I'm working on Lasso and retaining guard. So I shouldn't, if I feel like I'm just getting passed, and I shouldn't just like drop the grips and bail out of it. I should try to like work my way through it, right? But if I'm in like a 50-50 and they're doing like a leg lock on me, then yeah, I should bail, because I just know one defense against the ankle lock. I don't know any other thing. So why should I, if anything, I'm gonna have a bad reaction, and then it's more like I get injured or something like that. So just, I guess I should bail on unfamiliar situations, and I should stay engaged in familiar situations, especially ones that I am working on. Yeah, and it's not just bailing. It's like re-guarding, right? Like there's a meme about like in jiu-jitsu, it's just stand up, right? And then you have these ridiculous Instagrams where people are just standing up and carrying their opponent around. But it is, to a certain point, true. Like some people just scoot around on their butt all day, even if their opponent is like 2 feet away. Like they're just giving up a big advantage. Like if you're both kneeling a couple feet away from each other and the other guy isn't like pushing into you, then just stand up and pass him from your feet. Why should you stay on the ground? Yeah, and like the height difference is a pretty big advantage, and also it's not very it's not realistic first in a real life fight, and second in a competition. Another thing is, when you sweep someone, it's not a sweep until you come up on top. So a lot of people will just sweep and then you fall on the ground, and then they kind of expect you to lie there while they like mount you or something like that. But if if you're past that like tilting point, the apex of a sweep, and then you just like, at that point you're about to get swept. You can fight it a little longer, but 95% of the time you're gonna fall over. Just if you can fall over in such a way that allows you to like back up and regard, or you can fall onto your elbow and use that elbow to come back up right away, or just fall. If you know you're about to fall, if you can fall in such a way that it gives you an advantageous position, allows you to get back into an advantageous position, then you should do that, because the whole goal is to be in an advantageous position, not to like deny all the sweeps. So that's the way I'm looking at it, more like just stand up kind of attitude, like just be on top. Or so if I'm getting swept, like you might concede the sweep, but you're not just gonna roll over and lay down. You have to pop back up, or if you're both kneeling, I'm just gonna stand up and pass. I'm not gonna like sit there and either let you try to pass from your knees, or I don't even know, try to engage with both of us on our knees. Like, why would I do that? So before I would try to like pull guard from the kneeling position, and I would just kind of like pull him on top of me and get past like right away, or like wind up in side control or mount, or half guard if I'm lucky, and then and I thought that's like pulling guard, but so also standing up, just having that attitude helps me work on the things I want to do, right? I'm working on passing. I'm not working on doing anything from the knees, so why would I stay on my knees? So today we did some more guard retention from Lasso. So What if you get Lasso and they do a leg weave pass? So leg weave is when they have you in Lasso, so you're standing over your opponent, and so let's say you have your left leg doing a lasso. So your left leg entangles his right arm, and then you have like a sleeve grip on the inside. So his right arm goes down. So your left arm is inside of his left leg. If you're the passer, your right arm is inside of his left leg. So you push down, and then you grip the top of his right leg. So the other leg, you grip like the top of his quad, or you can post on the ground. But it's called a leg weave because you're going behind the top leg and in front of the bottom leg. So you are, what you're trying to do is smash the top leg down, and then simultaneously prevent the bottom leg from moving. So while you do that, you pass the left. So by putting your hand on the bottom leg, you're preventing your opponent from tracking you as you go around. Alright, so how do you defend against this when you're on the bottom, when you are playing Lasso? The first is when it's early. Oh, right. You do an inversion. So this was, I don't know, I tried it like 10 times, 8 to 10 times. And I got it like twice. So you get on your elbow, and then you roll around. I'm not even sure how to say what direction. But you roll into either an omoplata or a triangle, and then if he stops you in the middle of your roll, you should have an opportunity to go into an arm bar. So you're propping yourself up on your elbow as he starts the leg weave, and then you invert and roll, and then you get into omoplata or triangle. Second one is if he has smashed your legs, but he doesn't have control of your head. So in this case, you have to drop the lasso grip. So your leg is still in there, but you drop your grip on the sleeve, and you grip his shoulder on that same side. So your left hand grabs his right shoulder, the material, and then the left, and then your right hand grips his lapel on the right side. So his left lapel on your right side, you grip that with your right hand. So you have a lapel grip with your right hand, you have a shoulder grip with your left hand. Your lasso is still through his armpit, and then your right leg is kind of free at this moment. So, but he is trapping it with his arm. So his left arm is behind your left leg and in front of your right leg. Yeah. Okay. So then, now I remember. So now you bring your right knee inside of your right elbow, and let's step back in that when you have the shoulder grip and the lapel grip, it should be very hard for him to pass at this point in time. Whenever he moves, tries to rotate around you, you should spin. Just by maintaining those grips, you should spin with him. He should, just by virtue of him moving, should rotate you. So you're pretty much always in the same orientation toward him. So then you bring your right knee inside of your right elbow, and then use that leverage to extend your left leg. And then that pressure will force him to let go with his right hand. And then you can square up and get back into guard from there. Okay, so then the third case is, what if he has control of your head? Okay, so what if he has control of your head? So in this case, you still want to get the lapel grip and the shoulder grip. And now you bring your right foot in and you brace it against his left shoulder. So you're on your right side, the shoulder on your right side, his left shoulder. And if you can't brace it there, you put it on your right wrist. So if you can't bring it all the way to the shoulder, you bring it and you put it against your right wrist. And you use that pressure to then rotate your hips in and bring your left foot up to his hips. And then you can square up and re-guard from there. Yeah. So those are the moves today.